Hello, listeners. Today I will tell you an interesting story from real people. This story is a reflection on the emotional weight of divorce and regret. Subscribe to the channel to hear more stories like this, and if you want to tell your own interesting life story, write to my email, which I will leave in the description under the video, so let's get started.
They prepare you for the logistics, the signatures, the lawyers, the division of assets, right down to who gets the good coffee mugs and who takes the half-used spice rack. They warn you about the financial headaches, the long emails from attorneys, the meetings where you sit across from the person you once loved and discuss the details of undoing a life together. But what they don't prepare you for is the silence, the kind that settles into the walls of your home like dust, creeping into the corners, making everything feel heavier than it should. No one warns you that a house doesn't just become empty, it turns into an echo of everything that used to be. They don't tell you about the nights where you sit in the same chair you always have, but suddenly it feels different because she's not in hers. Or how a room that once felt warm and familiar now feels cavernous, like a space you don't quite belong to anymore. They don't tell you about the weight of regret, how it clings to you, heavy as soaked wool, making every step forward feel like a battle. Because divorce isn't just the end of a marriage, it's the slow, painful realization that you weren't the man you thought you were, or worse, the man she needed you to be. I know this because I lived it. I wrote those chapters with my own hands, filled them with sharp words I can't take back, silences that spoke louder than any argument, moments where I let her drift away, convinced she'd always find her way back. Love, I thought, was something resilient, elastic, that no matter how far you stretched it, it would always snap back into place. But love is not elastic, it's glass. You drop it enough times, and all you're left with is a mess to shatter to piece back together. The early days were simple. Love was laughter that came easy, long conversations that never ran dry, hands that reached for each other instinctively. It was the kind of love that felt untouchable, like something written in the stars. But the middle, that's where the fractures started. And when you're in it, you don't even see them forming. You get comfortable. You assume there will always be another day, another chance to make things right. You stop paying attention to the little things, the soft touches, the passing compliments, the small reassurances that say, I see you, I still choose you. Love, I thought, was something resilient, elastic, that no matter how far you stretched it, it would always snap back into place. But love is not elastic, it's glass. You drop it enough times, and all you're left with is a mess to shatter to piece back together. The early days were simple. Love was laughter that came easy, long conversations that never ran dry, hands that reached for each other instinctively. It was the kind of love that felt untouchable, like something written in the stars. But the middle, that's where the fractures started. And when you're in it, you don't even see them forming. You get comfortable. You assume there will always be another day, another chance to make things right. You stop paying attention to the little things, the soft touches, the passing compliments, the small reassurances that say, I see you, I still choose you.
Story 2, Just a Simple Okay. The End of Us.
Yesterday I had flowers on the table I didn't know I did. My husband didn't tell me he bought them for me, nor did he say Happy Valentine's Day, I guess because it wasn't Valentine's Day. I saw them and asked if they were mine, and he said yes, and that was it. Today when I talked to him on the phone, I asked him about dinner because that's what we've done in the past. He said he wants to do it tomorrow because it's always too busy. I told him we hadn't even talked about it, and he hadn't brought it up, and that I would be working on Saturday. Then he suggested ordering in tonight, but saying if he did that he couldn't afford to go out to dinner tomorrow night because he was saving for a big family trip we're having in June. Not our family, his family, more like a summer get-together. We have no children together, and all 8 of our children are adults. When he said we weren't going out for dinner tomorrow, I felt heartbroken. My voice became shaky. I decided to tell him that I didn't want what we have anymore, that we feel like roommates. He said he felt the same. I acknowledged his feelings. He never acknowledged mine though. So he walked away and stopped having the conversation. I texted him we needed a divorce, and he needed to begin looking for another place. His response was, okay, I love my husband, but I know he doesn't love me. He had a 9-month emotional affair, with his ex of 10 years. She may have even come here to visit him. I don't know. But ever since then I've been sitting back waiting for him to be a husband to me because he said he was going to try. He never did. I am tired and done. But it still hurts, and I'm sad as my kids really care about him, and of course I love him still, but I can't go on waiting, and he had no interest in trying. Just a simple okay.
Story 3. Caught in the Crossfire. A son's silent battle.
Living in this house feels like standing in the middle of a battlefield where the war never truly ends. The weapons aren't physical, but words, sharp, cutting, relentless. I didn't sign up for this fight. Yet every day, I find myself in the crossfire, trying to shield myself from the collateral damage. I'm 29 years old, a man who has served 7 years on active duty, now transitioning into the National Guard so I can finally go to college. I thought this new chapter would be about growth, about focusing on my education and building a future. Instead, I'm trapped in a house that echoes with resentment, a home that isn't a home at all. This house belongs to my dad. He bought it after the divorce using his share from selling the old family home. But it's not just my dad and me living here. My mom and her mother, my grandmother, also live under this roof, not because they want to, but because they have nowhere else to go. My parents separated in 2011, finally divorcing 2 years ago, yet here they are, still tangled in each other's lives, still unable to let go of the past. And I'm just the unfortunate witness to it all. I don't have a room to call my own. I sleep on an air mattress so my mom and grandmother can have the spare bedroom. It's a sacrifice I made willingly. After all, my mom has it hard enough as it is. She's looking for work in another city, trying to get back on her feet so she can move out. But until that happens, this house remains a powder keg, with every conversation between my parents threatening to ignite an explosion. There's never been physical abuse. Neither of them ever laid a hand on me or each other. They love me, I know that much, but that love doesn't stop them from being each other's worst enemy. To them, the other is the villain. I grew up without taking sides, refusing to play judge in a case where both parties are too bitter to see clearly. Yet, I feel the weight of their expectations pressing down on me, like they're just waiting for me to finally choose who was right and who was wrong. I don't want to know. I don't care who was the villain. I have my own battles to fight. I'm struggling with my classes, trying to stay focused while dealing with ADHD. I look at my life and see how close I am to turning 30. Realizing how much time has slipped through my fingers. I could have had a career by now. I could have been stable, independent. But instead, I'm here, sleeping on an air mattress, drowning in stress, clinging to my National Guard benefits because reliable health insurance is a lifeline I can't afford to lose. The worst part is, I don't know if I should say anything. I want to tell them I'm exhausted, that their endless fights are crushing me, that I can't take another day of their cold wars and bitter exchanges. I want to tell them I love them both, but I refuse to be a pawn in their unfinished battle. But what would that even change? Would they listen? Would it make things worse? Maybe I should just wait it out. My mom is planning to move eventually, and once she's gone, maybe the house will be quieter. Maybe I'll be able to breathe. But maybe is a flimsy thing to hold on to when every day in this house feels like another nail in the coffin of my patience. I don't have the answers. I don't know what the right move is. All I know is that I'm tired, so damn tired.